Hello there, welcome back. This is Sheepishly here once again, and today I've got a quick guide on how to complete your third try of Ascendancy, which at the moment you have to go through the try of Sekhemas one more time, using one that has at least 3 trials. You can see that here I have one that has a number of trials, which is 3. If you do one with 2, you will not be able to complete the trial, and you will not be able to ascend for the third time. Before we jump into the relic setup and the rest of the run, I just want to say that as it stands, the Trial of Sekhemas is incredibly overtuned. You want a very strong character who has a lot of damage, as well as solid defenses. You can see that all my resistances are capped, except for Chaos of course, and I do have 72% evasion. It is very important to overlevel the content, otherwise you will struggle, and each run do take quite a long time. I think it took me about 35-40 minutes to do one run, and that was with insane damage. I was one-shotting the res, and of course having tried a couple times, so I knew exactly what to do. With that being said, let's go through the relic setups. For your relics, what you want to focus on is honor resistance as well as honor restored, because honor is realistically the way you're going to fail the run. You're going to walk into traps, you're going to walk into monster attacks. Now they don't do too much damage, but they do a lot of damage to your honor, and when your honor reaches 0, your entire run fails, and you do not want that to happen. You can see here I've got some pretty garbage relics, to be honest, but I just have some honor resistance, honor restored, and these do help a tremendous amount when going through the sanctum. Okay, coming to the first room of the Trial of Sekhemas. The first one is obviously a find the exit room, which means that you're doing all these traps. You can see that I'm getting absolutely demolished by these column traps. I have no idea how to do them. My recommendation is just take your time. There is a good rhythm that once you get down, you will never get hit by the columns again. And I do recommend you practice a couple of times because what you don't want to do is on floor 3, you go into a trap, you step into them, you get destroyed, and you fail your entire run. Don't worry, I'm not going to be showing every room of the run. I'm only going to select the interesting ones, the different room types, as well as go through some of my logic for how to select the rooms, because the run is quite long. For these kind of find the exit rooms, what you're looking for are levers. There's maybe 1 or 2 of them, and all they do is open up the doorway for you to exit to the next room, which I think I'm about to head over right now. Yeah, there you go. Now the room exit is always on the top right hand side corner, which is quite nice. So if you are, oh sorry, I forgot there's a second part of the puzzle. So if you ever lost in the room, just remember head towards top right, and you will most of the times go where you're meant to go. As you can see on the second time around, I'm much more careful on these traps. A little bit of dodge roll, which does help a little bit. And once we get past the last pillar, kill some mobs, and there we go. That's the first room done. Now when we come out of the rooms, sometimes we get silver key, something in holy water, it doesn't really matter, and I'm going to call pause here on the trial maps. For these trials, you can look up 2 rooms in advance. What you want to make sure is that you don't want to take anything that hurts your honor. So here, 25% less maximum honor. Now, it's not run breaking, you're not going to fail the run if you take this, but it will make you run so much. It will just make your run so much less comfortable, and what you want to do on floor 1 and 2 is to maximize the comfort. You want to avoid all of these afflictions that's going to break your run. You want to look out for the boons, major boons, minor boons, whatever you can get your hands on, and the whole point is to make sure you enter floor 3 with as much honor as possible and with as much combat stats as possible. The other option that you don't want to do is to take afflictions that increases monster speed, increases monster life, or reduces your damage, because hey, on floor 1 and 2 you may be fine, but once you face the floor 3 boss, you're going to find that not only is the boss incredibly tanky, it is also incredibly dangerous. So you want to be able to burst down the boss as soon as possible, because I don't know, the boss is just incredibly overtuned for the Trial of Sekhemas at the moment. I do hope GGG will take a look at the balance, because at the moment I just don't see any option of being able to kill the bosses unless you're just incredibly overgeared and overleveled for the content you're facing. Lastly, on the room selection, I want to mention that you absolutely want to avoid Deceptive Mirror. You are not always taken to the room you select. This is a terrible, terrible affliction. What's going to happen is that you're going to go deeper into the Trial of Sekhemas. You're going to have all these afflictions you're trying to avoid, but since you have Deceptive Mirror, you're not always taken to the room you select. You won't be able to avoid them, and you're going to be accumulating tremendous amounts of terrible afflictions, and that's going to break your run. With that being said, let's move on to the next room and see how we go. Okay, the second type of room you're going to encounter are these blood chalice rooms. These are actually the most straightforward ones. I quite enjoy these because all you have to do is hunt down 3 rare monsters. If you are having trouble finding where they are, when you click on the chalice, they just send out 2 or 3 blood blobs that's going to track down the monsters on the map for you. So just follow the blood blobs that the chalice splits out and you'll be absolutely fine. You can see that I am way over leveled for this content and I am just absolutely two-shotting all the rare monsters. And well, now the room's complete. You can see on the top right, it says trial complete, and you can just go to top right, and you can just walk up and then finish the room right here. The challenge rooms are my favorite ones, just because I have so much single target damage, and rare monsters are actually a fairly easy challenge for the trial of Sekhemas. Good stuff. Let's move on to the next one. Now, the third type of room I want to go through is these time trials. Now, these are a little bit more difficult just because how much mobs it actually spawns. You may get swarmed, you may take a hit, and that's going to damage your honor. I don't think these mobs are strong enough to kill you, especially if you're resistance capped, as well as good evasion or armor or energy shield or whatever defensive layers your character is building. So you don't have to worry too much about it. Just make sure that when the rare monster come out, and I think there's one with every wave, you track them down and you burst them right away. And the reason why I suggest bursting the rare monsters instead of hiding in a corner is that sometimes the rare monster can have very, very rough mods on them. That's going to actually make it quite easy for you to get hit. So if you have good damage, which you should because you're over level for this content like I recommended, just find the rare monsters, burst them down, and move on to the next room. Something I've noticed that these rare monsters tend to drop a lot of exalted orbs. I don't know if I mentioned earlier in this video already, but this is because GG has buffed all the drops quite a bit. I think over the course of the run, I've gotten 4 or 5 or 6 exalts, which is quite good. I do apologize if this I've already talked about the exalted drops in the previous segment. I did film this out of order, so yeah, do apologize if I'm repeating myself there. But that's the time trial room. Fairly straightforward. The next room is actually quite interesting. I think there's a mini boss encounter. You have to clear one big portal. I don't know if it's meant to be challenging, but I just absolutely blasted the entire room. You just have to kill the one big portal. They just die in kind of one hit. I am quite over leveled and over geared for this content. Maybe it's more challenging when you are not as over geared as I am, but hey, it just kind of, yeah, it just died. I don't know what to say. I don't know if you saw there also, let me rewind a little bit, when deciding on what to take for the room, never ever take Fiendish Wings. Monster action speed cannot be slow below base, it means that you cannot freeze them, you cannot slow them. Monsters have 25% increased attack, cast and movement speed, means that they have turbo, they're going to run up to you, they're going to whack you, and you're going to have less time to react to all the boss moves. I think Fiendish Wings is also one of the ones you should just never take if you're doing Trial of Sekhemas. Coming towards the end of floor 1, I did skip 2 rooms. I think we've already seen those room types before, so I'm not going to repeat them. This room's quite straightforward. It's portals again, but this time you have one big portal, which I think is a mini boss. You have 3 small ones. Just kill the ritual casters, kill the portals. Yeah, it's fairly easy. I didn't have any trouble with this one, so we're good to go. Now here we have something called the Pledge of Kokai. Kochai? Not too sure what they are. But what this is that you can select one of the 3 options. So if you come from POE 1, be careful, you cannot select all 3, you can only select one of them. And what's going to have is that there's going to be a good side, which is on the left hand side, and there's going to be a bad side, which is on the right hand side. For example, the one that I ended up choosing was the second one. If I choose the second option, I will gain a boon called Fountain of Youth, which means that I will restore 100 honor, which is quite a bit, when I use a Marraketh Shrine. It's a nice little boost, so I was quite interested in this one. But what comes hand to hand with that is also an affliction, which in this case is that sharpened arrowhead and that you have no armor. Since my build has no armor anyways, the downside is essentially mitigated. So for this one, it's a pure boon for me. So I was quite happy to take this one and move on. Backtracking a little bit, but yeah, that's how the pledge works. I will show the other pledges I came across on this run. I think I came across 2 more, just to show you different options and what to do when faced with these different options. Move on to the next room. This is a Death Crystals room. It's very easy, I think. I don't know. I am a Deadeye, so I do run pretty fast. Essentially, each time you click one of these crystals, it will send out a blast of energy that points towards the next crystal, so you always know where you're going. You just have to click, I think, 6 or 7 of them before the time runs out. I don't know. This is fairly easy. Just make sure that you don't get distracted by any chests along the way, or you don't. Yeah, you still kill the mobs along the way, right? You don't want to leave like a rare mob behind, and then it kind of runs up to you and whack you for like 100, 200 honor damage. That's just not worth it. But yeah, there you go. I don't know what to say. This room's fairly straightforward. If you're struggling with this room, I think you're gonna have a very hard time in floor 3. Unfortunately, that's how it is. It is a bit overtuned, like I keep on saying, for the trial of Sekhemas. Coming on to the floor 1 boss, this boss, so with my build I can pre-fire these gas grenades, so I was doing that. What you want to do is that you want to stay a little bit far away from them, because it has this like AoE blast. I don't know if you saw that, it's like a little circle thingy, it does a triple attack that damages you in a circle. You can see I'm so strong for the content, just absolutely blasted it. And I think it might have on-death effects as well. Just stay away. All the bosses you kill, just stay away until you're absolutely sure that there's no on-death effects coming out to blast you for a little bit more damage. But yeah, that's kind of it for the first floor boss. Try to stay away at a distance, and yeah, just kill it with range attacks. One thing that's really good about finishing the floors is that you get to talk to Balbala, and he's actually a merchant. So you can see that we've saved up quite a bit of holy water, and we can get a lot of boons here. And if you go through the screen, so the way it's arranged is that the cheaper ones are at the top and the more expensive ones are at the bottom, but sometimes the cheaper ones is actually more powerful than the more expensive ones. So straight away, you can see here, Traps does 50% reduced damage. I need that. I absolutely cannot deal with traps. So that is an S tier boon for me. Hey, if you're better at dodging traps, maybe you don't need it, and that's a B tier trap. That's a B tier boon for you. But hey, I'm telling you, as a boomer gamer, the Black Pearl with 50% less trap damage, absolute godsend. But of course, the elephant in the room is the Silver Chalice. The next mana boon you gain is converted to a random major boon. All the major boons are insanely broken. Insanely broken. So what you want to do here is you want to really plan out what you want to buy. So I'll buy the Black Pearl first, and then I will buy the Honor Challenger, because I do want the Honor Challenger. Next I'll buy the Silver Chalice, and now watch out what I do. I'll buy the Assassin's Blade, which is the cheapest minor boon that I don't want. I'll buy this, and this will be instantly converted into a major boon. Let's see what we get here. So if you don't know, all the boons are listed at the top left side of the screen. When you mouse over, you can see the minor boons you have. So here I've got the 3 minor boons I bought. And when I hover over it, this is the major boon I get. Restore 27 honor on room completion. This is absolutely huge. You go through so many rooms over the course of a floor. Each time you finish a room, you get 27 honor, and that is actually scaled by different honor recovery mechanisms as well. And I wouldn't even say this is one of the stronger major boons, but it is already so strong, and it definitely makes the run so much easier. In fact, I think I would have failed this Sanctum if I didn't have this boon right here. Sorry, not Sanctum, Trial of Sekhemas. I'm just talking about POE 1 ways. So whenever you have a merchant, do check for the Silver Chalice, because it is very good. Moving on to floor 2. Now the first room from floor 2 I want to show you guys is the time trial one again, but this time with a different layout. So to be careful, the rare mob that comes out of here is quite dangerous. I think I lost like 100, 200 resolve here just because I wasn't really keeping track of what the rare mobs are doing. So right here, what I should be doing is I should be going down to finish off the rare monsters. You can see he's being left alive for quite a bit longer than I would probably like it to. These Lightning Mirages, they're pretty slow, just walk out of the way, you'll be fine. And I think there's a secret spot here. I don't know if I have it in this run, but you can stand behind one of these pillars and you can actually, dodge most of the attacks. Sorry, not dodge. If you stand behind one of these pillars, it actually blocks a lot of the attacks that's coming at you, which is quite nice. But realistically though, if you have damage and if you have good single target damage especially, just go hunt down the rare monsters, because once you kill the rare monsters, the whole room will finish, and yeah, the less time you spend in one of these rooms, the better it is. Yeah, not much to be said there. Just be careful whenever you encounter one of these rooms, because the layout is slightly different to how floor 1 has it. Coming over to the end of this room, we also have a pledge of the Kochai once again, and the thing I want to highlight here is really the second and third option. Sometimes with pledges, you're going to have the option to lose a mana affliction and lose a mana boon, and sometimes you have an option to gain a mana boon and gain a mana affliction. I would almost never take gain a minor boon and gain a minor affliction, and the reason is that there are some absolutely game-breaking minor afflictions. Even though there's a wide pool of them and the chance of getting one is fairly small, you just don't want to risk it. If you get Fiendish Winds, which is turbo, you're gonna break your run, and you absolutely do not want to risk it. Coming back to the second option, which is to lose a minor boon and lose a minor affliction. Now, normally I wouldn't take this option as well. In fact, I don't take it here. But there is one scenario where I would take this, and that scenario is if I already have a game-breaking minor affliction. Like we talked about before, Fiendish Winds when monsters attack a bit faster. If you have one of these, I would 100% take the second option here, just to gamble on the chance that if I can just remove that game-breaking minor affliction, my run will be saved. So sometimes it is good to take the second option and gamble a little bit. But here, I don't think I take anything. Nothing is too good here. So I thought I would just move on without taking the pledge. You don't have to take the pledge, right? You don't have to take the pledge. You can just move on to the next room. So coming on to the Find the Exit room in floor 2, I'm not going to show the whole room, but there is a new trap here, which is these things that sends out these fireballs in a spiral. Just be patient with these. You can also dodge past the little mines there on the side, so that's not too much of an issue there. Yeah, just be careful about the spiraling fireballs that it's spitting out. Now the trick to this is that the spiral comes out in hemispheres or semicircles, however you want to call it, and you can see that if you just run alongside, right, you can see that if I go back a little bit, you can see that it actually spits them out in counterclockwise and then clockwise directions. So as you know that, just run alongside with the way the ring is expanding, right? So now you can see that I forgot to pull the lever here, so I have to go back again. But yeah, so if the balls are expanding in a counterclockwise direction, just run counterclockwise. If the balls are expanding in a clockwise direction, you want to run clockwise. And the reason is just to move alongside with the movement of the balls, so that you're always, keeping enough space between you and the balls. Just have a go a couple of times. You're gonna get the hang of it quite quickly. It's actually pretty intuitive, and I think this is actually one of the easier traps to do. Somehow, for the life of me, I can do this one just fine, but I can absolutely not do the column loop trap. Oh, I forgot. There's also a flamethrower trap. Yeah, just when the flamethrower goes off, you walk past it, or you can dodge roll past it. Yeah, maybe that's the easiest trap for the floor 2. So, yeah. Now, I don't actually enjoy doing these Find the Exit rooms. The traps are a little bit difficult, I think. Even after you get used to them, you can still fuck up and mess up your run. So I will try to avoid them if I can. The room type, that is. One of the rooms I want to call out are these shrine rooms that bestows the fickle blessing of the wind. That's a very interesting description, but these are very, very useful. If you can find one of these rooms in your trial of Sekhemas, definitely try to path towards it because it is very, very powerful. Let me fast forward and show you what this looks like. So once you clear the room, you're going to have one of these things called Honor Galay. Probably Galay. And then it will give you a random boon, cleanse a random affliction, and restore 1,000 honor, like 900 honor. Absolutely crazy. And here we got a very good one. Monster have 30% less max life, which means that we do even more damage to the bosses, and this is going to enable us to go through the bosses quickly and with the least amount of risk possible. So coming on to the boss for floor 2, these are the twin statues, similar to POE 1. Again, if you kill one, the other one will be healed to full HP and enraged, so my recommendation, just focus one down. Now, these guys are quite scary. They have a big slams. I don't know if I can show you here. And they come out very fast. You see that one? The little AoE attack there that I just got hit by? Yeah, try to dodge that, because it did like 200 honor damage to me. If you get hit by a couple of them, your run's pretty much over, so yeah, do be careful about those. But after you're done, just pick up the loot and head on over to floor number 3. Onto floor 3, the first thing I noticed is that one of the ritual caster, the portal room, which is meant to be very easy, actually just got a lot harder. And the reason isn't because the monsters got tankier or faster or have more damage, but it's the layout of the rooms. Rather than having a more open layout, you are stuck in these narrow corridors. You can see the little openings. You can see a little like uphill thing you have to go through. these are very narrow, and what happens in these choke points is that it's very hard for you to avoid enemy projectiles and attacks when you're stuck there. So do be careful when you're walking up the platforms or down the platforms, and try to be ready with your dodge roll to dodge any projectiles that's coming your way, because it's actually very, very easy to lose a little bit of chip damage to honor. You're not going to lose the room by any means. Just be able to, yeah, but just be a bit careful. And I think that's a room design for the entire floor 3 as well, because even in the Chalice Room, you can see that I'm having trouble getting down onto the lower platforms. Maybe it's a skill issue, I don't know, but to me it's very hard for me to go through these narrow corridors, and I do eat a little bit of chip on the damage as I was trying to go down there. Oh, also there are devours. I don't know why. They're really annoying, but hey, there's devours. So just, yeah, be careful about that. Okay, I think this is the last room I'm gonna show for floor 3. The other ones are all kind of Chalice Room, kill the rare monsters, kill the portals, which is fairly straightforward. And this is the find the exit room in floor 3. Now, I don't think there's difference in traps, except, well, for this one, for the fireball in a line trap, I don't know what to call it, they're very close together, as you can see, so you have to dodge roll through them to get past them. The other thing, well, there's a return of the column trap, which I hope you guys will be fairly proficient in at the moment. I definitely am not. But you see that little platform there? So that, instead of a lever, you now have these little platforms you have to stand on, and once you stand on that, you're gonna trigger a door opening, which I'll go through in a little bit. Did I just get hit by the column there? I think I did. I think I did. I don't know why I'm saying that I'm good. I'm just terrible with column traps. I just cannot hack it. I don't know why. Something in my brain just does not compute when to go, when to stay, whatever. But yeah, here's the kind of like spinning fireball trap again. Like I said, if the trap is moving clockwise, you turn with the clockwise direction. If it's moving counterclockwise, you turn with the counterclockwise direction. Simple as that, I think. Now, don't be discouraged if you do fail along the way and it takes you a couple of tries. It took me a couple of tries to get used to the traps, the enemy mechanics, and the boss mechanics. Oh my god, the boss mechanics were rough. But just take your time and just remember, like, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's still in early access, so some content may be a bit overtuned, but that's fine. We just have to give GG some time to adjust and fine-tune the game. And finally, we have the floor boss of floor 3 of the Trial of Sekhemas. This boss is really rough. This boss is really rough. Now, so both mechanically, right? This is one of my least favorite bosses from POE 1. This is a Scorpion boss from POE 1. It does this thing where it jumps underground, so it's untargetable, and then just dashes all around the map. You can see it do right now. So it burrows on the ground, it jumps up, it burrows again, and the entire time you cannot hit it. You cannot hit it. And if you ever get touched by the arm barrel, which I will do so right now, I think I walked into the little, you can see the little indication on the ground there. I took like 500 resolve damage. Honor, sorry, not resolve. I took 500 honor damage. Let me just play that again. So right here, you can see the little bit of like rubble flying off the ground. That's an indication for where the Asher, the Sand Mother, the Scorpion boss can arm barrel. You want to dodge roll out of it immediately. Now, the reason why I'm a bit slow, well, I play this mechanically bad, don't get me wrong. The reason why I'm a bit slow also is because if you see on the top left side, the little 4 there, you are debuffed in this fight. And what the debuff is doing is reducing your movement speed, so it's harder for you to get out of the way, right? And when I got hit by that, it did like 700 damage to me on my life, and it was 500 damage to me on my honor. Absolutely crazy. This boss does so much damage, it is so tanky, it is really fast. You just have to burst it down like I did there, right? So thankfully my damage is really good, and I was able to absolutely blast the boss when it gave me an opportunity to do so. Yeah, I think you just need to overlevel and overgear this content, or you can be a god gamer, which obviously I am not a god gamer. And here we can of course click on the Altar of Ascendancy to finish the trial, and we have our 5th and 6th ascendancy points from our 3rd ascendancy trial. But just to go back onto the boss fight a little bit, now I don't know what these platforms do. If you guys know what these platforms do, please leave a comment below so I will know for the future, and other players can learn as well. They must do something. Maybe they cleanse the debuff that's on me, or maybe they stop the boss from burrowing on the ground all the time, or maybe they stop the poison arrow from coming out from the walls. I don't know. But it has to do something, because as it stands, this boss fight is so rough that if I wasn't so overgeared, I would have absolutely failed the Sanctum right here. But yeah, there you go. I'm just playing the footage one more time and while I'm talking. That's the boss for floor 3, and that's my run for Trial of Sekhemas. Remember, just to take the trial slowly, right? Do not rush through the traps, do not rush into this boss fight. Try to dodge more, don't worry about doing damage if it's doing one of the barrel attacks. And I think if you take a common collector, you will get through the Trial of Sekhemas. It might just take a couple of tries, but you will get there eventually. I know it's I know the content is a bit rough, and I do think GG should kind of balance a little bit to make it a little bit easier and more accessible for new players especially. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I wish you the best of luck. Take it slow, don't rush, you will get there, I promise. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. This is Sheepishly once again, and good luck. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.